Good morning, everyone. Oh, so it could be a little slow today. We do. I want to say banks are closed today. So really not a lot on that. So I am looking for longs above that 40 level. Above 640. A print. Now it has to print above 640, guys. 25, 640. what did I say? 25, 640. Yeah. Okay. So that's kind of what we're looking for this morning. We're looking for, like I said, a print above the 640 here. And there's no 3-star news, so we shouldn't have any craziness today that should move the market. I want to say it's a bank holiday also, so the volumes could also be low this morning, so be aware of that. So it could either be choppy this morning, or we could just have a nice trend day since the banks are closed. I also need to make an updated video. I had a red day Monday. Yeah, so it was a red day for me on Monday. Unfortunately, I was green and I got stuck in a short and I just couldn't let it go. Unfortunately, it did come back, but I DCA'd a little too early into it, and so I just couldn't keep holding it. Luckily, the 2 accounts that it did blow were free eval, so it didn't cost me any money. That was the only positive thing. So if we push back up here, 40 can hold. We will look for shorts. Above 40, we're looking for longs. So that's kind of where we're at the moment. There's also a nice little 5-minute trend line here too. So it just broke above that trend line right there. So if you do like 5-minute trend lines, you would have got long here at about 13. How's everyone doing today? I kind of hope we have a nice like trending day. This way we can just follow it up all day. What's up, DJ? So we still got about 4 or 5 minutes before the market opens. So right now we're just kind of just sitting here chilling, drinking coffee, watching charts. Like I said, my long is going to be above 40 today. So what it is yesterday, I've been trying to like take these reversals off my funded account. That's what happened yesterday. And I guess one thing I noticed, if the spot where you go long does not move and go up with a trend, that is not a legitimate bounce area. So that's kind of what happened yesterday, because I've recently just started trading these bounces pretty much on the 5 minutes, and that's pretty much what was the mistake yesterday. So we will not do that again. So next time it will need to move in a trend before we take the bounce. So most of the time you're going to be trending down or trending up, and then you can take that move off of that level. So I feel like we're going to be possibly moving up if we can get above 40 because we're making lower highs. So we got this low at the 570, this low at about the 580. And if this can continue that trend of making higher lows, hopefully at the opening we can move up and get above that 540 level, or 640 level to take a long. How you doing today, Alex user? I wish we could listen to music on YouTube without getting flagged for it. Oh, goodness. We are trading the NQ, guys, if you're just joining us. There we go. So right now we're at the point of control, which is the 620. And I get this level by using this volume chart on TradingView. So whenever we do cross this 40 level, we could run into some resistance right here at this 5-minute order block, but it's not very high, so I'm thinking we can push through it. But that's another little octable that we have to kind of get through. And that's a 5-minute order block for anybody that watches order blocks. See, we've already hit this one multiple times. So I'm hoping as soon as the market opens, we get a little bit more volume, then we can push. So like I said before, below 640, that's kind of where this next high is. You can kind of see this line right here. See this little dotted line? It just lets you know that's your like next high. So most of the time, if we push above it, would like print above it, we'll continue higher. So most of the time, that's how I usually get into most of my entries, just when I print above the previous high. Not the previous high, but a solid high on the 5-minute charts. Not like 1 minutes and stuff like that, 5 minutes. And most of all my trades are taken off the 5-minute chart. I didn't really see how much movement we had overnight. I mean, it looks like quite a bit. What have we got? The highs all the way at 780. So basically almost a 200-point move. How much did we move up from the opening? Okay, so we just basically just sold off from yesterday. So this is kind of the opening here, and we just pretty much just sold off. So it'd be nice if they do like at least a 50% pullback this morning. How are you guys doing this morning? Is anybody else here trading the NQ? I know a lot of other people trade different things. I've had some people trade like the QQQ. All right, so the market's open. The ES and what else? Gold. I hear a lot of people coming across trading gold. All right, so fairly mild open. Like I said, I'm not interested in a long unless we're back above the 640. Let me take off my order block so I'm not just... So remember, guys, the banks are closed today, so the volume could be off a little bit. So just be aware of that. The markets are not going to close today. I think it's just a bank holiday. I'm not even sure what holiday it is. I'm assuming, what is this? November? What is that? Is that Veterans Day? Let's see. Holiday. Let's see. Yeah, so it's Veterans Day. So that's the holiday that the banks are celebrating today. How you doing today, Nikki? All right. So, like I said, we're waiting for that 40 pop here. If it stays below 40, we'll look for shorts. Above 40, look for longs. Then I'll also tell you where my stop loss needs to be if we do pop. Down. There's a rejection off of that 40 level. So, do you see the nice rejection off that 40? I mean, like, we literally just kind of wicked into it. So this is what I'm saying. We got resistance there. We gotta wait for us to print a 5-minute candle above that level. So this is kind of where you just got to be patient. If we can't break that level, then we can start maybe using those levels as our stop loss. What's the Apex? Whoa. I haven't looked to see where the All right, about to have a new 5-minute candle here. I haven't looked to see where the kill zones are for the like overnight. I guess the overnight London high and all that's going to be back up there. Never mind. Like I said, we could have low volume today. Banks are closed. I would prefer the long, honestly. It would be I feel like a safer entry. Now this could consolidate here and be a 5-minute inside bar. And we may take the 5-minute inside bar here. And see, this is not very fun price action to enter because if we do enter without volume, it's just going to be one of those grinding type price actions. And this is probably a price action that I would recommend just trading eval on instead of funded accounts. At least that's what I'm going to probably do just because the volumes just seem so low right now. All right, there's the pop of the 640. Let's see if that 640 is going to hold. It needs to hold. Don't wait for a print above 640. Okay. See, it popped it, pull back. That's why I'm saying got to wait for the print. If it does not print above it, stay away from it. A lot of resistance right there. So that's why I said you got to wait for the print. What's up, Brian? So what we're getting hold up right there is this 5-minute trend line. So this was a 5-minute trend line break earlier. All right. All right, we're about to have a new 5-minute candle too. So like I said, we're going to have to wait another 5 minutes because you need to have a 5-minute candle print above that 40 level. This is what we were talking about, low volume because of the banks being closed. if we can get some kind of trend going, I think the volume would be low enough to keep that trend going. All right, here's the new 5-minute candle. And see that first push up there? I wonder if that was into the order block. There's a order block sitting up there around the 40s and 50s. That's a dirty looking 20-point wick. Ooh, that was dirty. Well, that might be a squeeze. That's a big old wick. So maybe the bulls can take control here. And see, the 16 is also your point of control. Hopefully no one got caught in this chop. Like I said, that's why I said kind of just recommend staying away from it from your funded accounts. It's just kind of asking to be chopped up or sitting into a stressful trade. This is like eval type trading. And we're also at that first 15 minutes. That's where we wick to the bottom of. If you see this little square on the screen, what this does is it outlines the first 15 minutes of the day. So this is your first 15 minutes candle from 9 o'clock to 9:15. A lot of times, if we can get away from that, start pushing away from that, usually you'll push down quite a bit. Then you might do a little retest. And a lot of times I'll take a little retest of this 15-minute candle. And that might be a day you only look for 10 points. I think right now, this type of price action is really hard to get runners on. Whew. So this is some very boring price action here, guys. There's just not really a lot to do but sit here and just kind of be patient and watch. This is one of these days you sit here, listen to music, drink coffee, and watch charts. If you're new to trading, it's very important to try to get as much chart time in. And even if you sit here and watch charts, you don't really need to trade. Just watch charts and just watch how they bounce and how they move. Unfortunately for me, some days charts live in my head. I can't stop thinking about charts sometimes. It's like you can sit me there talking to somebody, but you're still thinking about what charts are doing or what the levels are doing. It's such an addiction. What's up, official? How are you doing today? So far, price action is pretty bad. Our long entry was going to be a print of the 5 minute above 640, but we have not gotten that. We've hit that 640 multiple times, but we need to print. But I don't know. I think if we get back below this 600 level or even this 680 level, it could just be a move back down. But I was really hoping for a nice trending day to the upside. Sorry about that. I need to set an alarm for real quick. All right, so 8:50, yep, 9. Woo. Hopefully no one's trapped in a trade right now. This is why I try to give you information so it kind of helps you from getting trapped in a trade. This is what I was saying. Like, you need to either get back below that original 15 minutes, and that's there, or if we can close above 40, that's definitely when I'll start looking for my longs. Close above 40, then we'll see where our stop loss needs to be. And once I get that, we will let you know, because a lot of times you got to use like a previous low or something. So we'll have to just see where that low's at. So we're still just kind of hovering around the point of control. Point of control is sitting at 617, 618. So that's kind of the middle of the range at the moment. I think for shorts, I'm just going to wait until we get below the 685, 684. That is the bottom of that 15-minute range. Now, you got to consider this. If we do break that 15-minute range, almost 60, 70% of the time, it will retest that. And to me, that's always the safer entry. If you are trying to trade like these breakouts on these 15-minute candles, I used to trade like the opening 15-minute candle, but I haven't done that in a while. But the retest is always the safer way to go. Maybe this will be our push. It's looking pretty bullish or bearish. There's the first hit of the 15 minutes. Let's see here. We may try this short below the 15 minutes here on the next candle. We'll see what this next candle is going to do, and we'll use that 84, 83 as our line in the sand. This way we're not risking a bunch. I need to kind of pull Fibonacci just in case it does come back up. All right, there's the first hit. All right, we'll take 20 points off the second hit. Oh, no, it just barely wicked me. Come on. No, I hate when I get dirty like that. Come on, market. So this could be the retest of that bottom of that 15 minutes. So this is our first 15-minute candle. Really, it's the danger of the trade. You really need to wait for the retest. It's the safer of it. If you want to be on the safe side. So there's the safe one. You want to see if that's going to hold or not. Damn it. Man, I got a bad entry. I'm going to go to break even because I didn't get the entry I wanted on that retest. That was the retest. So that's what I mean by the retest. All right, so I'm going to sell one more. So now we just got one contract left. Because we could bounce at the 50s pretty hard here. Now, if we can get another retest on the next 5-minute candles, we might try to re-enter again. May get stopped out on this pullback here. So if we get stopped on this, what we'll do is pull the Fibonacci on this previous 5-minute candle and see if it'll pull back 50% of that candle. Man, the price action is so wonky today, guys. This is just some pretty wild price action for, you know, which we already knew that. That's why we said I didn't recommend trading funded accounts on this because it's a bank holiday. So the volume's just not going to be there today. So, all right. So we done sold both of the other contracts. So we're still in this for one contract. What is that? 4 plus 7. So $14. So we're still in this trade for $14. So this entry is off that 15-minute candle where we had that red line put. It'd be nice if we can get a push all the way down to the 500s here. All right, so this next 5-minute candle should kind of give an idea of what's going to happen. So either they'll do the complete 50% pullback on this total move. So what you can do is kind of pull your Fibonacci and get an idea of where it could pull back to. And you'll want to see that area hold. So that'd be another retest of like the 600 here. So if it pushes back and the 600 could hold, we can look to either add to it. Well, actually, it wouldn't be an add. It'll stop me out. So it'll be a look for a re-enter. All right, it comes to stop out. I'm not worried about this. Like I said, it's just one contract. And we'll just have to re-enter. We want to see that 50% area hold. Now, if it breaks that 50%, we're probably going back higher. And it just broke that 50%. So here, if we hit the 610, pull back to the 90, then re-pop that 600. I've taken longs off of that on evals. So that's kind of what I was saying about runners today. Today, I think it's going to be one of those 10-point move type days. You get your 10 points, take your profit, and move on to the next trade. As you can see, every runner got stopped out today, but we always hit our 10 points. So we're about 3 minutes away for our new, away from our hourly candle. And if that hourly candle can print above that 40, we should get a nice push back up. I mean, this is super bearish candle. I just don't want to get trapped in it. Woo, come on. Dude, I'd love to see a print above this freaking 40 level. This way we can get us a long. Now, the one thing that you have to consider, you kind of need to make sure we don't need to get that 50% pullback on this level if we do break that 40 level. So that's always a possibility. I mean, it's looking super bullish right now. So it looks like the bulls are possibly trying to take over here. 10 seconds left. All right, here's our new 5-minute candle. I wouldn't mind seeing a retest of a 50% on this candle. Then the last of it kind of pushes above it here. So for the 50%, you're looking kind of back down into like the, what, 610s to 600. So you'll want to see that area hold, and it should be a good indicator that we're going to be moving up. All right, we just mark out the levels. That way it doesn't look so liney with, you know, all the lines from the Fibonacci. Debating if we want to see if it's going to break out if that area holds here, even though it's not a print above 40. But I figure we at least got 10 points that we can hit. Now, if we start losing that 600 again, this is probably a no-go on this move to the upside. So it did hold. The first hit did. So this is kind of where I use to see what kind of pullback we're going to get on Fibonacci. Damn it. I think 600 may be my line in the sand here if we lose 600s. If we can get one more test of the 40s, we should be fine. What's up, Laura? Below 600s, we'll probably close this trade because that'll be at our 50% pullback. So if we lose this, it'll just pretty much take away the profits that we made from those earlier trades. It'll be yeah, so there's your 50%. So like I said, if you lose that 50%, more likely we're probably going to be moving back down. Then this is probably going to be an inside bar. So this is already kind of like a setup anyway. All right, seconds left on this chart. So we may be closing this trade to re-enter because this is the 5-minute inside bar. Like I said, we didn't really want to lose that 600 in the first place. So below 95, we'll have to change our bias to short here if we lose that 95. All right, so we just lost that level. Got in that bitch late. Dude, it wicked me, but it didn't take me out. That was kind of dirty. It didn't sell my contracts when it wicked through like that. My line in the sand is probably going to be 600 here. I don't want it back above 600, and we'll just have to close this because it did not take out my contracts. This price action is insane right now. I don't know what's going on with this stuff. I don't have no idea what that is. Like I said, it's a holiday, so this is why we're just getting weird crap going on. The price action is definitely off today. Holy goodness. But we are in the green since we sold off those last contracts. We upped our contracts a little bit on that 5-minute inside bar. As right now, our P&L is sitting at about, if I closed it now, which I may just take off one contract, so sell, buy, let's see. One 142. Or if I close both, it would put us over 200. Man, this price action is insane. So this is just not normal price action, guys. This is definitely not a day to trade if you're new to trading because this price action is horrible at the moment. It's super wicky. Like, this is very unnormal for this price action to be wicking around like this. What it is, we do not have the normal volume that we need since it's a bank holiday. It's like, where could we go? Man, it is a mess down there. I didn't realize how big of a chop mess it is down there in the between 55 and 505. So it would take a lot to get through that mess. I may jump back in with 2 micros here if that. I may wait for this next 5-minute candle to print. So we got about 30 seconds left on this 5-minute candle. All right. Here comes the new 5-minute candle. You kind of want to see this 80 something hold up here where it's bouncing off the bottom of that 15-minute candle. Nope. See, it kind of got back up. If it can hold, just wick above it, then start pushing back down. Let's see if it can sell back through this. We may close this if it does not, if it gets back above this 83 to 85 area. Because that's that one level that we've been basically talking about most of the morning. You can see it kind of tapping it a few times. It keeps tapping it over and over. Most of the time it'll get back through there. But as long as it holds, we'll hold this trade. But if it starts getting back above that level, we'll close it. And that's at that 83. That's the bottom of that 15-minute candle. That's why I'm saying this is definitely a 10-point trade day. Like you take your 10 points and get out. Because the runners have all gotten destroyed today. I haven't had one successful runner today. See how we're just getting right at that 10 points. Then it's just wicking back up. It's just been one of those type days. I almost want to just get out of this. I'm going to close this if it gets back above that 43, 45 area. Just because this price action has been pretty insane. If it gets back above it where I feel like it's going to stay above it, I won't close it if it's just wicking up and down. But it would have to look pretty bullish to me to get out of this. See how that's looking super bullish? And we're just in it for 2 micros, so we're in at very low risk at the moment. Whew, this price action's insane, guys. Come on. At least give me my 10 points. If I get 10 points, we'll just go to break even. We'll just put our stop loss right at the bottom of that 15 minutes. Man, this stuff is in. The red line here, what it is, that's the bottom of your opening 15-minute candle. All right, so there's the first hit. It's probably going to get stopped out. Like I said, no runner has worked today. This is what I was saying. Today is one of these days you just get your 10 points. I keep trying for the runner, but like I said, I've had every runner get stopped out, and I've had like 4 runners get stopped out today. What I'm scared of is whatever that crazy price action was earlier where it wigged down like 70 points. I'd like to see it. I don't know how hard it would be for it to go down here, but to maybe make a run to those whole numbers down at the 500s. All right, about to have a new 5-minute candle. So this is still your 5-minute inside bar. That is this candle right here. This is your first 5-minute inside bar. Let's see. So this is where I was saying it's kind of important to pull your Fibonacci. So what you want to do, some of these candles, you want to see the pullback to either the 40 to 50%. You want to see this area here hold. I think it's probably going to pop back up again, because if you look to the left, there was tons of consolidation here in this 70s range. Look at all this consolidation here. So I just feel like it's going to take a lot to get through that. There's a lot of orders sitting down there. So that's why you're getting all this wick action here. That's why it's like run the wick, pop back up, run the wick, pop back up. So, I mean, if you're good at that type of trading, this is definitely your type of day. Because I know some guys that have been in my lobbies, that's what they do, is they trade the wicks. I almost want to close this contract out back above 70 and just re-enter and see what happens, in case we get the pullback all the way back up to the 15-minute candle to rerun these wicks back up here. I think I will. So that's what we'll do. If it gets back above 70 here, or what we'll do is just follow the 5-minute candles down. Or we can go over to the 2 minutes. I don't know if anybody's ever done that with the two minutes charts. Just follow your 2-minute candles. Give it a minute to load up here. Is it the 2 minutes? Yeah, so this is the top of the 2-minute candle here, where you can just follow the 2-minute candles. So we're about to have a new print of the 2-minute candle, and wherever it's last wick, you just move your stop loss to it. Not even going to gain too much off of that. So we are on the 2-minute charts, guys. So it does look a little different here. We're trying to target the 500s down there. All right, so let's see what happens here. We just ran this lowest wick a while ago, so we can see if this area is going to hold. Just trying to see like a decent spot that I feel like we could get down through. What's there? All right, I'm hoping this next candle makes a wick here. This way we can use that as our stop loss. We'll see if... Wouldn't mind finding a place to even add to this. Maybe this is where we can add a little bit here. We still got about 2 minutes left on this 5-minute candle. So that looks like kind of a pullback. Hopefully this is not a new low here for us to suit back up to the top side. I'm hoping it's just a little 2-minute bear flag. Is there anybody else trading the NQ, or what are you trading, Boone? Come on. If we can get a pullback maybe up into the 90s and 600s and the 600s holds, then maybe we can look to add, because this is the 9. So the next one would be up at the 580. That would be your 20 minutes. Here's our new 5-minute candle here. And it could be a 50% of the move too. So what you can do is pull your fib on this. Let me switch back over to the 5 minutes, because I prefer to be on the 5-minute charts. The 50% is pretty much at the bottom of that 15-minute candle. All right, sold off 2 more contracts. That was a nice little reversal into the 15 minutes to add. We were able to get, what's that, almost $40 more added to our profit by doing that. So that 15-minute candle is probably going to be our line in the sand here. So if we start breaking back above 80, we'll just close this entry. What's up, Outer? Yeah, this is definitely an eval only today, Outer. My short entry, like I said, below that 40 up there, 640, look for shorts pretty much only. It is definitely only a eval trading type of day. And I've just been trading off levels. Right now, most of these trades right here are coming off the close of that first 15-minute candle. Right here. We're not even going to look for a stop loss now, guys. We're just going to see how long we can let this damn thing run. So either it'll pull back, we'll add to it, or take profit. We'll just do a little of both. And I'm okay with even a pullback. That way, maybe I can add to it and get a little better of an entry instead of the 60s. I wouldn't mind having my entry up there around the 80. All right, new 5-minute candle. Like I said, I'd really like to add here. He says, continue to rip, zero resistance above $20 on the chart. I guess I don't understand that one. Dream. Oh, you're talking about that particular, is that like crypto dream? Unfortunately, my stop loss needs to be back up at 27, and I don't know if we can get that far back up. Point of control is back up there at 618, so we could possibly even go all the way back up to point of control. If I knew that 640 was going to hold this morning like it did, I definitely would have loved to have a short off of that 640. Maybe time to go get a fresh cup of coffee. Right now, it looks like the bears are still trying to take over because it's all red on the volume chart here. I just don't know how far we could go down. I know there's a lot of resistance here at the 95s area. There's a lot of candles there. If we get through the 460s, then I think you could look for a nice sell. But we have a lot of consolidation here to the left of us that we pointed out multiple times. It's all this mess here. And we're about to hit the top of this, and you got all of this. Like, there is so much just garbage wicks and a lot of consolidation down in this area. So maybe we could run the 460s here, 450s area. 450s. Maybe that's what we'll target there. It just take a lot to get through that. I mean, hell, I probably should just take targets. Our initial short was all the way up there at 80. Stop loss still needs to be at 26, 626. Whew. So original entry was actually up around the 80s. The reason it got offset a little bit because we added 2 more contracts this early and took 10 points, so we added $40 more. If you look to the left, we're going to see if we can run these wicks down at the 560s. What's really going to suck if it continues selling, and I just got to sit here and watch because my entry is way back up there and I don't want to be jumping in. What I'd really like to see is it to come back and hit our entry level and to add to this and see if we continue getting the sell-off today. But unfortunately, my stop loss needs to be all the way back up there at 626. You want to see that area hold at the 35. So we'll at least take 20 more points out of this, just in case it pushes all the way back up. I can always add back into this or do another sell order, like I said, as long as 26 holds. I'd hate to be up 60 points, which we were up 60 points, and come back and get 0. That would be crappy. It got all the way down to that 500 level. At least it's respecting a whole number. At least today, like today, is going to respect whole numbers. Oh my goodness. What time is it? It's not even 10 o'clock yet. Man, if everybody got short at that 640 level that I was talking about earlier this morning when the market was at 640, man, be up over 100 points. But I didn't take the 640 drop. I think most of my entries come off of that 15-minute candle at there at the 580. So if you're like, look for like nice little eval trades, this is always a nice retest area here of that 580. Do we close this? I'm trying to debate what to do here because I just don't know if we're going to, how far we're going to see down. I just don't know if we're going to make a little bear, like another little bull flag not. That's what I was worried about. But it looks like maybe we'll continue down. I know it looks very bullish right now. I think I'd rather just take 30 points and just add back in it if it pushes all the way back up there. I think that's what I'm going to do. Because we can always re-enter back up here. All right, so we'll just take our 30 points. That pushed us up to 276 for the day. And see if this is like a 5-minute bear flag. I just don't know if that 500 is going to be the low. Here's a Wix. Kind of glad we got out of that. Because it's already 10 points with our entry. Like I said, we can always re-enter this. So that was the 9 EMA touch for the 5-minute chart. And right now, I'm hoping it just kind of hovers around here and just make this into like a little bull flag here. Like maybe print one more candle, have like a 2 or 3 little candle bull flag on the 5 minutes, and then have a little sell-off. Or bear flag. I don't know why I get those reversed, but bear flag. Kind of waiting to see if this little bear flag is going to work here. And see, there's a lot of wicks there at the bottom, so I think it's going to have a hard time pushing up through all those wicks. All right, about 40 seconds left on this 5-minute candle. All right, 20 seconds left. We'll see what happens. We haven't got our entry placed yet. We just kind of got it hovering there. So we're going to wait and see what it does first. This way we'll wait till like the last minute. I wouldn't even mind seeing a 3rd candle print here. Oh, I guess that is a... Yeah, there's a 5-minute fair value gap right here too. So it could clean up this gap. It's got to be aware of that too. See if this gap holds. Yeah, so basically what you would do is you would long out of that inversion gap there. Don't really want to be in this a lot in case it pops back up. Fuck. Man, dude, we just barely wicked us. All right, first target hit. So that was a nice little bear flag on the 5-minute charts there. The little 2-candle 5 minutes. It'd have been a lot sweeter if there was 3, but like I said, I don't know if my runner's going to get anything right here. No luck for the runners today. This is these 10 points. I'm just going to take it to break even. This way, if it stops us out, we can always re-enter. If I'd have just took that 2 where I took both contracts, that would have pushed me over 300 for the day. But these 5-minute little bear flags or bull flags are usually pretty spot on whenever it's like the classic print low, then print 2. I'd have loved to have seen the 3-minute or 3-candle, then a push, but 2 candles are still just as good sometimes. I wish I was still holding my trade from way up there. I mean, I just didn't want it to come back and just be stopped out for 0. We only need, I think, what, 90 more dollars be past this account. Like I said, we've been bearish all day long. As long as I said the 640 from the market open, if the 40 holds, it's going to be a short day. And really, we've already sold off 140 points since that high up there at what, 47. So you wicked about 7 points above that 40, and then you had another retest of the 40, and that held, and that was probably the entry. But I was being cautious this morning, so we didn't take the 40 bounce. So right now it's got your stop loss. And this is based off the hourly charts. So that's usually where I take my stop loss from, is from the hourly chart. Your stop loss really still needs to be back up in the 600s to 620 to stay safe. Nestor, thank you for the likes. Nestor, are you trading the NQ? If you're just joining us, we are trading the NQ mostly on the 5-minute charts. Woo, we didn't hold our short and it's still going. But there's no entry right now, guys. So all we can do is kind of sit on the sideline. What's up, John? How are you doing today? All right, I'll kind of go over the setups today. There's been about 3 good setups. So the first one was your 5-minute inside bar. So if you're joining my chat and you see this big purple bar, now this is the very first one after the market opened. So it took about 55 minutes for this candle to present itself. So a lot of times I do take this mostly on micros. Every now and then I may do fundeds, but mostly this is just a micro trade. I'm not micro, eval trade. So basically what you'll do is once it prints on this next candle, you're either going to get short or long, whatever way it breaks. And I look for 10 points in runners usually when I take them. And you can just kind of do a 1-for-1. So it was a, 30-point candle. So you would need like a 30-point stop loss. But as you can see, we have sold off 100 points since the print of this 5-minute candle inside bar. And what it does, it can't be higher or lower than the previous candle. So here's the low of this candle, the high of this candle. And you can see this candle is kind of in between this candle here. And so then I just got short this morning. I think I took 10 points, but my runner got stopped out from this crazy candle here because he did like some kind of crazy wick where it wigged down like freaking 60 points and popped all the way back up. And then I did another entry, which was off the 15-minute opening range. I call it the opening range, but it's the very first 15 minutes because technically the New York market opens at 9 o'clock. And so what it is the first 15-minute candle of that 9 o'clock hour. So usually I do a open range indicator and just change the time to whatever time zone you in. So like my time zone, I'm in Central Time. So I have to have it from 8 o'clock to 8:15. And a lot of times, if you don't, I took the break this morning too, but I got stopped out. I just got 10 points in a runner. My runner got stopped out. A lot of times you want to see the retest where it doesn't pop above it. You see the retest here? We push down. This was the kind of the breakout. And see the push back up. It probably got within 3 points of this 15-minute candle. And now we've sold off almost 90 points off of that entry. Are you making trades in the hour? No, my trades all are on the 5 minutes. I just use the 1 hour for support on my funded accounts if I trade funded. Today I did not trade funded accounts because It's a bank holiday today, Nestor. So that's why the price action has been kind of weird today. So that's why you're getting all this wiki price action. It's just a weird, the day is not a normal trading day. So hopefully tomorrow will be a little bit more, it'll be a little bit more cleaner. But today has been, it can be like kind of ruin your day type price action. And that's because it's a bank holiday. But right now, if you got volume profile, I also use that kind of like a volume profile where you can just see like all your sellers and buyers coming in. So I hate that I got scared out of my original trade. Oh, nice. 2K today. Oh, that blows me out of the water. I'm only up 294. Where was your entry at today? Or have you been holding all morning, or did you make that overnight during the Asia or London market? Yeah, this is definitely a nasty market outer in the New York, man. That's pretty good for the type price action we had. This price action has been pretty tough this morning. It's not that we're not getting movement. To me, what makes it tough is like you have to just hold through a lot of these trades just because of the consolidation. To me, that's what makes it tough, because most people jump in these trades, they just kind of want to be in and out of them. They don't want to be sitting there just holding this crap, going back and forth, and risking that, oh crap, I'm gonna lose my profit type thing. So, I'm trying to get better at holding. That's been one of my definitely weakness over the last year or two, is holding. Okay, so you made your trade at the top of the hour for the 1 hour chart. Okay. I take all my trades on the 5 minutes, but I try to use that 1 hour as a support. So right now, I know if I was still in this trade, my 1 hour stop loss would basically need to be all the way back up here at 600s. Let me look on it real quick and see. Wow, we're about to have a new 5 minute chart here, or a 5 minute candle. I may take another trade here if we can get a print here at 11 o'clock. And we got 1 minute left. 1 minute left for this new 1 hour candle. What we have to be considered here is the 50% pullback on this 1 hour chart. Let's see here. Yeah, there's a lot down here around the 480s on the 1 hour here. If we get through there. We also have that opening gap from November 9th down here at the 250s. I mean, that's a long ways down, but it'd be nice to hit the day if you can get in short and hold it all the way down to the 250s. I like to see if we're going to maybe make a nice little wick here on this 5 minute chart and sell back below the 500s here. I just don't know if we need a 50% pullback. That would be all the way back up there at 54 if you like to trade off the hourly chart. So it's probably going to stay bearish the rest of the day, but we just have to anticipate a pullback. Just trying to be patient here. We were also making another little bear flag on the 5-minute chart also. The ideal here, this is on the hourly chart, you would see a 50% pullback back up to the 50s. Was that supposed to be 552, Nestor? Okay. Yeah. That would be that 50%. So let's see what happens when we get to that 50%. Maybe we can try to get a short back there, up there, if that area can hold. And there's a lot of consolidation in this area too. So. Man, how many contracts were you deep to make $2,000 this morning? Were you in pretty heavy or on large size? What's up, Tommy? Right now, there's really not a lot to do here, guys. We just have to be patient and wait. Most of your good entries were between the 9 and or 10 and 11 o'clock hour. Maybe it's only going to give us a 40% pullback on this. That was. Shit. I turned it around. That was the 36 or 38 entry. Seeing if we're going to break through these, get through these 10s. Just don't want to get faked out here. Yeah, it's just another little pullback, fake your butt out. So we do have a little three candle pullback on the 5 minute here. So the ideal here was like, hopefully it would hit those 50s, hold at the 50s, then push back down. So I'm still going to be taking my trades off of the 5 minutes if we do take a short in the minute. What we're doing is just trying to see what happens with this 50 level. And that's going to be the 50% pullback from your hourly candle. Yeah, if we take another trade, it's going to be super low risk. We're trying to probably won't risk no more than $40 if we do take a trade, Nestor. It's going to be super low. Because it's already 11 o'clock, and a lot of times I try not to even trade around the lunch hour. Just because I know the volume's probably going to get a little bit lower, and we may get some more volume come in after lunch hour. Thank you, Nestor. Have a good rest of your day. See you tomorrow if you stop by. What's up, this page? How are you doing today? So if you're looking at my charts right now, this is the 1 hour charts, but we take most of all of our trades on the, what do you want to call it? Oh, there it is. It's like, on the 5 minute charts. So I'll switch over to my 5 minute charts real quick since we already kind of got that marked out. So we took this, we took this last little bear flag here. I didn't know if we're getting another little bear flag set up here. Yeah, most of the good setups I think are gone at the moment. I don't know if we're going to have to wait till after lunch hour. I think anything we take now is going to be a little bit more on the riskier side just because the volume's already been kind of weird today. And that's because it's a bank holiday. So that's why the volume's just been kind of off today. I don't know if you've taken any trades this morning, but the volume has been off because of the bank holiday. So like this morning, my level setup was below 40 short, above 40 long, and that's at the 640s. And we've been pretty much selling off since the 640s. So 640, I wish I'd have taken a short all the way up at the 640s, but we did not do that because I just wasn't sure. I didn't want to get burned. I kind of got burned yesterday a little bit, so. So if you did the bear flags, you would be short from there. Yeah, we're up about $300 for the day. So we're willing to risk like $40 or $50 per trade at this point of the morning. This way we can at least stay above 2 to 250 today. if for some reason we do find another entry. I don't think we will, because most of the time I don't trade usually going into the lunch hour, because the lunch hour is usually pretty crappy to trade. You really need to see the 50% pullback on this candle from the hourly chart that we had up a while ago, which is basically back up at the 50s. Where was your entry at this morning that you got stopped out? I don't know how long you've been here. I was telling people that a very easy entry that you can do is pretty much an automated entry, and that's this first 5-minute inside bar. So I got short off of this inside bar. I mean, as you can see, we've already sold off 100 points since this inside bar. And so usually what it is, if you start watching my trades at 9:30 in the morning, whenever you see this first purple candle, that's going to be either a short or long. So whatever side it breaks out of this purple bar, and that's the 5-minute inside bar, I want to say it's one. I hardly ever take losses on it, because most of the time I usually do 10 points in runners. So every time I at least get my 10 points. Then the runners can be kind of iffy. Sometimes they get stopped out. Sometimes they continue. Then another entry that was a pretty easy entry this morning was the first initial 15 minutes of the day. And this is at 9 o'clock to 9:15. So the New York market apparently opens at 9 o'clock. So this is the first 15-minute candle of the New York Open. And a lot of times you can wait for a retest of this area. And most of the time it's a fairly decent, clean retest. And what it is, I just use a open range indicator where I put the time on it. So my time is central. So I do 8 to 8:15. And a lot of times you just want to see it push down and retest. And so this was your retest candle right here, but it was super fast because it was so wicky this morning. So you got about 2 or 3 points away from your retest of that 15-minute candle. I want to say that was my second entry, because my runner got stopped out on this wick here. And then the next trade we did was the 5-minute bull or bear flag. So basically what it is, you had just 2 5-minute candles print. And then we just got short here, took like 10 points. So I don't usually take these bears and bull flags a lot on the 5 minutes unless it's like an eval. But like I said, today's price action's been pretty tough because of being a bank holiday. For anybody that's not aware that it's a bank holiday, it's a Veterans Day here in the U.S. if you're in the U.S. Or it's a federal holiday, so, banks follow all the federal holidays. If you're wondering why the price action looks the way it does today. If you're not from here, I know a lot of people are from all over the world that trades futures. So, and it's also a holiday in Canada too. I forgot what holiday Canada's celebrating. I want to feel like it was. Thank you, Outer. Have a good rest of your day. Sorry I didn't see the chat here. Yeah, I don't really think we're going to get anything else the rest of the day. I think it's just going to be consolidating. So what was that? I pulled the hourly candle up a while ago, and you can pull your fib on the 1 hour and see where we can possibly pull back to. It's up there at the 54, 52 area. That's your 50% of this 1 hour candle. I think that we hit about the 40% on the pullback if you pull fib on this 1 hour candle. Someone go tell Methodical Man don't hop in this trade unless it's back above 52. What's up, Darren? Captain? Jazz? How was everybody's trading this morning? Did anybody take any trades this morning, or is everybody sitting on the sidelines? Because like I said, this was some pretty tough price action this morning to enter. And I didn't take any funded trades today just because of the price action. The price action would have been super tough on funded. It's not that you couldn't find an entry. The problem is the patience of sitting through it and waiting on your entry. That's what makes it tough to me. Is like, you know, most time you take a funded trade, you just kind of want to be in and out, especially if you're over leveraged or you're in kind of heavy. You just don't want to sit through all these drawdowns. And that's the kind of price action we're getting. That's where you're getting all this wick action in these small bodies. So most of the time what happens is these candles are just running from wick to wick. So here's this wick. We didn't run this wick yet, but then this body ran this wick. And so now it's kind of like what it is. We're just kind of running back and forth between wicks. And it just basically just chops you up if you got to have small stop loss. So this body ran this wick. This body ran that wick. So that's what I mean by like running wicks. So if you're new here, if you wouldn't mind hitting the subscribe button, we're trying to get to hopefully eventually 1,000 subscribers. So I appreciate all the follows that we have been getting. We're up to 626. Thank you, this page. For some reason, if you're in this long, it could stop here at the 54, 52 range. Because like I said, that's the 50% of the total move on your hourly candle. We'll pull fib one more time so we can kind of get an idea of where it's at. So we start at the top of the candle, pull all the way down to the bottom of the candle. And it's looks like it's sitting right there at the 54, 52. So let's see if we break through that 50% mark here on this 5-minute candle. All right, it just hit it. So let's see what happens here. Trying to make it big so it's easier to see here. All right, so we just kind of wicked above the 50% mark. So you could get, it could run into some resistance right here. And plus you got this big wick here. See this big old wick right underneath this hourly candle. So right here, it could start pulling back on you if you are in this long. So what it is, you're going to be running to this wick, and these wicks all the way back up. So it's going to probably take a minute to get through this. For anybody that likes to trade off of wicks. So it's usually a good way to look for where the market's going. If you can just kind of look to the left and just find your wicks. And even on higher time frames, it's even easier. So this way, if you need to take profit before it has like some kind of big pullback, if you're following it close, because some people will follow the market up instead of just kind of holding trades. They'll just be going, you know, by either 5s or 10s as the market moves. And it also depends on what time frame in. On these higher time frames, it doesn't seem as overwhelming. But man, if you get up on the 1 minute where the 1 minute's going pretty fast, or even the second charts, I've known some guys to be like trading the 15 seconds and the 30 seconds. I've never been any good at trading those low time frames like that. It's just, I don't know. I just never could get used to it. It was just way too much to try to even quietly even understand that. And see, we wouldn't be interested in a long unless we got all the way back above the 600s. Here's our next wick. So we got through this wick. Now we're at this wick. So next week's going to be at 80 if we get through this wick here at the 70s. Then we have equal low sitting at, what, 595. What's up, ER? How are you doing today? So we have a nice little push up here. So I wonder if we can get a hit off at 592 here. I almost want to try a 2 micro hit off of this 592 here. And just have like a short stop loss here. Oh, I might have missed my entry. All right, here you don't want to see it back above 610. Back above 610, it's a closed trade. We're looking for a 90 reaction here and kind of go to break even kind of fast to see if the 90 holds. Looking for 10 points here. You might get 20 points too. If it hits this 10, it should pull back maybe to 20 here. I don't know. I may even close both if I hit that first target, just because I don't expect too much of a runner here. Oh no, I didn't realize we were so close to a print new candle. Come on. There we go. So almost 20 points off of that 90 level. That's usually about normal, 20 points. We're going to follow this down. The bottom just fell off on the 90s, guys. On the teat. This might just be a 50% pullback here. So that's kind of what you got to anticipate. The 50%. I didn't pull fib from here to here, so I can't really tell where the 50% is. So 50 is back to the 50 level, but also that 40 level here, that's 40%. Most of the time you're going to bounce between that 38 and 50. Let's see. Now, if we lose that 50%, this level here, we could be going all the way back down to the whole number. Woo, what a bounce off of that 90 level. I didn't expect 40 points. Or, yeah. I'm going to close this trade. Well, never mind. I still need 40 more bucks. Never mind. So. All right, so we at least locked in 35 points. We may even lock in 40 points. What a nice trade to probably end the day here, guys. Dude, what an insane ripper this was. Definitely beat my expectations. Woo, look at her go. Like I said, we lose that 50% of that total move down. We could probably go all the way back down to the 500s. So, what is that? 30. We can somewhat maybe, I wouldn't mind just seeing it just blast through this whole number here. Actually, I think what we'll do is we'll close the trade at 90, and that'll be a 100-point move if it hits our 90 level here. And we'll just finish. That'll be the last trade of the day for me. Because we could bounce here. So right now we got locked in because it could pull back 50% here, guys. So we're not just trying to give up a lot of, we're just take what profit we can because we've already got a nice big move here. We'll keep it at 30 in case it has to pull back up to the 25. I just don't know if it's going to blast through this whole number. Come on, blast it. Blast it. No, we hit that 95. Ah, nice. Nice 100-point trade, guys. Man, that was insane. I was expecting maybe a 10 or 20 point trade. I did not expect a 100-point trade off that 90 bounce, but I knew I was taking a short. That's why we brought up the 90 there. Oh, goodness. Whew. That one was a little shocking there. Did not expect that one. A lot of times you get like 10, 20 points off of that 90 bounce. But like I said, you don't hardly ever see 100-point rips from 90 to 90 like that. Not at 11:30 in the morning. Or, yeah, 11:30 around this lunch hour. Man. So that was going to definitely be our last trade of the morning there. So what a nice way to finish the morning. So the entry, I offsetted this entry because my entry was at 92, and that's where we pushed up to. And so I wanted to be on the safe side. That's why I said 90. That's why I said I was going to take a short here at 90. I'm not really sure. I didn't see it on the, what do you call it? The page. I usually don't keep up to when he speaks unless it's on the investing.com. That's the only time I really ever keep up with it. So a lot of times if he's on investing.com, we can look and see if he's going to be there. Like I said, I'm not sure. So I use investing.com to kind of give me an idea where the news is today. So just go to investing.com. This is free. Just select the tool, select your economic calendar, and just kind of stroll down and see what's available. So like I said, this is why I said Canada has a holiday today. I didn't see any 3-star news today, so I'm assuming Trump's not. He could have like something different as far as speaking, but as far as like scheduled, I didn't see anything as far as investing.com, because usually they put it on there anytime Trump speaks or Papa Powell speaks, those guys. Let's see what tomorrow brings. Since the government's back open, we should start getting a lot of our news back. So right now we do have, tomorrow we got the 10-year auction note. That usually gives a little bit of volume around the lunch hour. Usually it's like 1 or 2 minutes afterwards, because I guess they wait to see what kind of sales they get from those 10-year auction notes. So let's see. Let's see about this week. So today is Tuesday. We looked at Wednesday. Trollers Thursday. It looks like Great Britain has a little some numbers, GDP numbers Thursday morning. Let's see who else. Looks like Thursday morning we'll have core CPI numbers and CPI numbers at 8:30 in the morning. Oil. Then the rest of this week's going to be like the 30-year bond auction. Let's see. Excuse me. Friday looks kind of like a no news day, just very light news, 2-star news. So Thursday is going to be probably the big news day. Wow, look at this crazy wicks. I'm so glad we got out of the 90s here, guys. Yeah, the only two people I usually look like that's talking, kind of like you were saying, if Trump's speaking. If Trump is speaking or Jerome Powell is speaking, a lot of times you want to stay out of the market, because either one of those guys say something and the market can just go really wonky and crazy. So it doesn't take much. All right, so that we are up 514 for the day. So 514 is our green for the day. We needed that because yesterday we were red, because my dumb butt decided to try to DCA back into a freaking trade, and it cost me. Unfortunately, there was good and bad. One was a funded account, and the other two were 2 free evals. So I knew better because I knew that freaking thing broke my level. Once it broke my 53 yesterday, I should have been out of that trade, but I had high hopes that it would pull back. Unfortunately, it did pull back, but it was already too late for me. It ended up pulling back shortly after that. So I just DCA'd in it too heavy, and it cost me instead of waiting and sitting through the drawdown. Yeah, so I think that was probably going to be my last trade of the day. I feel like we ended on a nice, good note. So not very often you get to finish the trade off with a 100-point move. Oh, nice for bringing that back, dude. I probably would have just went and said F it, full ported it, and start over. That's one thing I struggle with there, Paige, is I get in the red and I can't just live with it. So I'm like, screw it. I might as well just start over. That's nice to get $900 back, man. You were so close to doing that. It's so hard not to, man. You just get so frustrated and you're like, damn you. Oh, goodness. Good deal for not blowing that up. Who are you trading with, Paige? What prop firm are you using? Now, if it was an expensive eval, I'd probably do what you're doing, but some of these cheap evals, man, it's hard to hold on to those. Or funded, there's really not no cheap fundeds. All your fundeds are pretty pricey. Tomorrow, I was going to start trying out this new prop firm. It's out of Britain, and you can get their accounts for $8 right now. So pretty cheap to out the gate. And I want to say their funded fees like $80. So that's pretty cheap for funded accounts. And they have the old APAC rules. So you don't have to make the $2,600. The only thing about those accounts is it's a static, which is good because if you make profit, your stop loss gets big. But with the 25Ks, they only have $500 drawdowns. Man, let me pull them up because I think I have an issue with trying to pronounce their name. Let's see. I may even have to just put it in the chat. Let's see. I'm trying to think of that name of that. Here, give me a minute and I'll put them in the chat. Oh, there they are. All right, I got it. Let me put it in the name. I don't have a discount code for them, but Methodical Man does. So you can just put in MM to get a discount. It'll knock it down to $8 starting out, which is pretty cheap to start out. You know, you got a new, let's say a new, some kind of new trading thing you want to start on. That's definitely a cheap way to do it, you know, without costing you a lot of money out the gate. That's the name of it. They're out of Britain. So I don't know a lot about them. I just know I'm using the static 25K and I didn't take any trades on it today, but they only trade on Quantower. So that's probably my biggest thing is I don't trade very good on Quantower, but that's who I have to use them on. And I know they have a few others, but Quantower is really the only other thing that I have set up to trade on. So I like trading off Ninja. That's my favorite thing to trade off of. Next thing to trade off, if I had to do it, would probably be Tradeovate. and third is Quantower. And I've never done the Quantower. I don't know. I just haven't gotten used to it. It's just, I don't know. But I guess we're going to have to start trying to use it more. But in the past, anytime I've tried using cheap evals on Quantower, like I said, it's just, I don't usually do that great. I almost wish I would have took this 90 trade here, but it's so I was already wanting to take it on my Ninja, so it would have been kind of hard to try to finesse both of those. Yeah, so if you can get cheap prop firm accounts for like 8 to 10 to 15 bucks, that's what I would recommend if you're new. And like I said, with that account, that is a static account. But with the 25Ks, you only get like $500. So if you feel like you need more drawdown, probably the 50K is probably better. And I want to say the 50Ks are $16. But most of my trades today that you've been watching, almost all these trades have been taken with 2 and 3 micros. And you can see we're up $500 basically trading 2 and 3 micros. I went in heavy one time, and I want to say that was around that 15-minute inside bar. So for some reason, the market goes back up today. My long setup for the day would be a print on the 5-minute above 600. Oh, not, oh, say, so you went in. Now, did you get short at the 90 or did you jump in later? Like, where was your entry at? Or were you able to jump in right there at the top at that 90 level? Okay, so you got in short after it broke the 50 level. Okay, so kind of like trading the whole numbers. I trade off the whole numbers a lot too. I got burned on a whole number last Friday. It was just blasting the whole numbers. I think I got into a real bad withdrawal down last Friday from the whole numbers just getting blasted. It was either Friday or Thursday. Whenever we had that crazy movement last week. Like there was like today, whole numbers are really good. The market's respecting the whole numbers because of the volume being low. This is like the best time to trade whole numbers because most time your 100 levels and your 50 levels are all getting respected. You can even look here. I mean, look at how many times we bounced pretty much around the 50 and 100s today, or like the 500 levels. Look at all these bounces off of the whole number. So anytime we got slow movement like this, a lot of times these levels get respected a lot more. And that's with low volume. This was also the 3-man salute too. This is one thing that someone was telling me about. Anytime you get 3 nice bullish candles, that very next candle, most of the time, some people just take this exact trade setup where they get 1, 2, 3. It's called the 3-man salute, if I'm not mistaken. I think there's different names for it. But, you know, anything with trading, man, it's never 100%. I mean, you know, anytime that anybody tells you something, you can't go in and it's like, oh, it's going to work. It's going to work. Because, man, there is no 100% when it comes to trading. You just got to have to live through your losses. That's probably the hard part to overcome, to accept losses. If you can accept losses, it definitely makes the confidence level go up a little bit more because you can, like, you know, if it loses, it loses, whatever setup you're trading. To me, I think that's the hardest thing is living with the red. That and revenge trading. And usually that comes hand in hand with not living with red if you have a bad trading day. Because there's no such thing as a 100% good trading day. Like yesterday, I got blasted. And that was by my own fault. And like I said, I like to think about chart. I can't stop thinking about charts and levels all the time. I'm like constantly thinking about it, even when I'm not trading. And I knew what my mistake was yesterday. I did not let see what happens yesterday. I got long at 53 yesterday morning. And so I thought we were going to get a bounce there, but I got to remember if I take a long at that level, it's not going to be a good bounce area. And that's what happened yesterday. I was trying to take a bounce off of my original entry and it just blasted it and just went straight down 100 points. So we know not to ever do that again. All right, guys, I think we're going to call it there so we don't FOMO to any more trades. Sometimes if you're up green, walk away. If you're in the red, walk away. So I had to walk away yesterday because we blew those couple accounts. And so sometimes it's just best just to shut it down. It's okay to watch charts. Like if you use TradingView, I use TradingView for levels and for volume. And even if you don't want to use the paid version of TradingView, you get like multiple free little indicators. Like, I know some people use like the buy sell indicators for TradingView, but I use it more for volumes and levels. So this is the volume chart. So usually if you don't pay for it, usually I think they're like 10 minutes behind. But this was over 10 minutes ago, so you can still look and see where the volume is or the point of control is. So, because a lot of times this doesn't move for quite a bit. So right now your point of control is all the way back up there at 616 unless it updates in a minute. Or, if you don't mind spending a little money, I think the cheapest that you can get away with TradingView is, I want to say, around $20 a month, 22. It's usually $15 for the basic and $7 for the data. But like I said, I don't really recommend using like buy sell indicators. I've never had any luck in those in my early days of trading, so I don't ever use them. Right now, we do have a nice little 5-minute trend line going here. I mean, it's just pretty much been selling off since the London, or since we opened yesterday at Asia. This was around the open here. So we opened at 7:30. So pretty much just a 200-point sell-off all night long, just selling off. So yes, well, more or less, that's like a it almost takes itself back to that area because that's the point of control. So most of the time, the market always makes itself back to the point of control. It's probably it's taking a little to update. As you can see, this was the last point of control. This is where all the volume's at the moment. You can see this consolidation in this area. So this little spot here, But we're definitely getting ready to, like, I don't usually ever recommend trading during the lunch hour either. And that's starting in about 10 minutes. A lot of times the market is super choppy during the lunch hour. You could also use, if you don't want to think about those, you can use, let me see, ICT kill zones. And I use those sometimes too. So this is what ICT kill zones look like. So basically it's just called ICT kill zones. And what it does, it marks out your each market. So this is the AM market at the moment. As you can see, it's already closed and we're getting, in a minute, this is going to turn yellow. It's going to turn like this here at 12 o'clock. And this will be your PM lunchtime. And this is your PM session. And a lot of times we just rerun these areas over and over. So during the lunch hour, we could literally push all the way back up here to that point of control. So kind of see right here, this was the AM session. What did we do during the lunch hour? Look, it pushed all the way back to the top of the AM session. So it definitely can give you some good reference sometimes. And look at the New York AM. This was yesterday. It reran the London low. So look, here's the AM session from the New York. Before we went into the lunch hour, it reran the London low, literally passed it by like 2 or 3 points and just ripped all the way back out. See, we never did run the Asia low, so we still have that Asia low from yesterday that's untested. So today or tomorrow or overnight, we could easily get a big pullback all the way down in the 300s. So this indicator is nice to use as far as levels. So this indicator is called, let me pull it down so I can see it. It's called ICT kill zones and pivots. And it's just for reference. So what it is in the mornings, I'll use that for levels. So like this morning, if I'm like, okay, if I feel like if we break this level, you can target the lows. So like this one that we just targeted. So look, this was the first target level of your lunchtime low. See how we targeted that lunch and now we're moving back up? So I don't know if during lunch did we either run the AM session here, but you know, everything's hindsight. There's just levels that you can just try to target and see if you get it. There's a specific word for this that I'm trying to think. It's called like consolidation, manipulation, then whatever the next one's called. There's like a three word term for that. Let's see. So the London had the consolidation. If you look at London here, so the London had the consolidation, then the New York AM almost had the manipulation in the PM's AM session. So it would have broke, then broke all the way back up. You would have to look that up. I'm not sure. Oh, distributing. Okay. Yeah. So that's the third one, the distributing. Okay. I couldn't remember what that was. I've heard it multiple times. I just cannot remember it. That's because I don't ever think about it too much. But thank you guys for hanging out today. Like I said, I'm not going to be tempted to take any trades during the lunch hour. I just figured it'd be nice to finish off this nice long trade. So thank you guys for hanging out. Thanks for chatting, Paige. And we'll see you guys in the morning. Thank you. So I'm not saying if it will get long, but if you're looking for a long And if this thing gets back above 620 on a 5-minute, like prints above that level, we could be moving back up, but I don't think we will, just because if I go over to the hourly chart, man, this thing needs to get, what is that? Yeah. If the 1 hour prints above that, but we'll have to see what happens. We'll come back and look at it later tonight. So right now we're at the point of center on the 1 hour chart. So here's the 1 hour chart. Here's your point of control. See the 1 hour, it's made itself back there. And you can see why. Look at all this consolidation. That indicator is called, if you do like to use, I have just recently started using these volume profiles. I use the, it's like volume profile plus VHS plus volatility. I'm not sure what that VL stands for, and point of control. It's just one of the volume indicators. I'm trying to see who makes it. Let me go see. Let me pull it back up and you can see it. All right. So I got it saved under favorites. It's this one by the Real Drip. So not many people use it either. So all right, thank you guys. Good luck the rest of the day if you're going to continue trading.